student. This is the lesson of class 10 Our Environment, chapter number 15. You know that environment means all the things around us. It may be biotic or abiotic factors. So, what is actually environment? That can be seen here. Environment is sum total of all the things around us. That may be both living and non-living things, and thus the living and non-living factors influence the environment. Now we will see which are the components of the environment. Already you are knowing that there are biotic and abiotic factors. Now abiotic means these all are non-living things. We are dependent on air, water, soil. These all things are called as non-living or abiotic factors that affect the environment. They include the following things: climatic factors like wind, water, light, temperature. Now, second abiotic factor is physiographic factor like height, slope, etc. Then edaphic factor like minerals, then soil texture, soil organisms, pH of the soil, etc. Thus, these all are about abiotic factor. Now we are going to see about biotic factors. You know that the factors are biotic. Bio means related to living things. So, in this biotic factor, we can see the different types of the living things. It may be plant or animals, grazing animals, insects, lichens, humans, parasites, means all types of the microbes. These all are biotic factors. Now, you know that in the environment, when we are doing many different activities, due to that human activity, much more unwanted things get accumulated, and these unwanted or discarded things are collectively known as the waste. Therefore, which is that waste? It may be industrial waste, factory waste, then medicinal waste, that is school waste, hospital waste, then leftovers from the household. Now in this picture you can see that these are the leftovers of the fruits, vegetables, etc. These all are related with the waste things. Means when we come across many waste things around us like garbage. In that garbage we can see that kitchen waste, medicinal waste, industrial waste, etc. They are simply defined as useless or discarded things. They may be gaseous, liquid or solid. Means waste material, it may be any physical state. There is much more solid waste, but this solid waste can be managed very nicely. But what about liquid and gaseous waste? It is very difficult to manage gaseous waste. Thus, their disposal is a big problem, and on the basis of degradation, these waste material are classified into three types. Those three types are biodegradable waste, non-biodegradable waste and environmental pollution. Now, here you are knowing about biodegradable waste. From its word itself, you can easily understand its meaning. Biodegradable means the waste material which can undergo decomposition or it can be degraded with the help of the microbes. These called as the biodegradable. For example, kitchen waste, sewage, cotton, cloth, papers, then means leftovers of the vegetables. These all can be decomposed very easily in the short period of the time. Therefore, these all are called biodegradable waste. second type of the waste is non-biodegradable waste. These are those waste which cannot undergo decomposition or which do not undergo the degrade. Thus, which are their examples? Plastics, rubbers, polythene bags, then metals. These all are non-decomposable or non-biodegradable. Now, environmental pollution. You know that pollution, these are of different types, that is water pollution, soil pollution, sound pollution. These are the types of the pollution, and these all are related with environmental pollution. So, as you have seen many times that the resources around us are not clean and not pure enough, like air is not free of the gases. Means there are some harmful gases get mixed into the air. Main composition of the air is 21% of the oxygen, then 0.3% of the CO2, 78% of the nitrogen, some amount of hydrogen gas, some amount of water vapor. But when this component present in the air get disturbed, their percentage get disturbed, and unwanted gases like sulfur dioxide, much more amount of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide get added into the air, then air become polluted. Suppose now in case of the water reservoirs, the natural water reservoirs, it may be river, lake, ponds. In that also, if effluents from the industries or factories get added directly into these water reservoirs, then their purity get changed, it get disturbed, and therefore that time we are taking it as a water pollution. Then noise pollution. Nowadays we are using many different automobiles, and due to automobile there is air pollution also as well as sound pollution because of their horns. So these all factors, it may be gases, then unwanted chemicals, these all affect on the environment, and thus we can define the pollution as an undesirable change. Means, and thus this undesirable change may be physical, chemical and biological. Means these physical, chemical and biological characteristics of the air, water and soil when changes, then it leads to the pollution, and thus indirectly or directly this environmental pollution related with the problems like asthma as well as bronchitis, means respiratory diseases, hearing capacity is also changed. Thus, this environmental pollution affects on our health as well as mentally, physically. Now, next point from this lesson is ecosystem. Ecosystem, it includes all living thing, non-living thing, all means microbes, then atmosphere, with all together it is called as the ecosystem. All non-living thing, living thing and atmosphere which is contact with that proper means specific place. Therefore, this whole it is called as the ecosystem. It is one structural and functional unit of the biosphere. If we consider the Earth, Earth has a biosphere where there are the living things, and with that living things, the surrounding which comes in contact with that living thing, that is the biosphere. Thus, ecosystem is one structural and functional unit of the biosphere. It contains or includes living organisms and their interaction with the food chain and bio-geochemical cycles. Bio-geochemical cycle. Bio means living thing, geo means earth, that is soil or earth. Chemical means food material that we needed, and another minerals and elements which are required for our body development. That and thus this ecosystem has the interaction with the food chain as well as biogeochemical cycles. For example, garden has a many different plants such as grasses, trees, flowering plant, non-flowering plant, animals like frogs, insects, different birds, the snakes means reptiles are there, and we all means human beings. They are interacted with each other, they are interdependent with each other, and they are also affected by abiotic factors that affect their growth, reproduction and other activities also. Thus, there are two types of the ecosystem, man-made and natural. So, which are natural ecosystem? We have seen that ecosystem is the functional and structural unit. So, in our surrounding there are the forest, there are some lakes, ponds. These all are the natural ecosystem where in that specific place there are some reptiles, insects, human beings, aquatic animals, aquatic plants. They all interact with each other. Therefore, that is natural ecosystem. Now, which is man-made or artificial ecosystem? In man-made or artificial ecosystem, we are knowing the sanctuaries as well as gardens, crop field, aquarium that are developed by the man or human being. Therefore, these are called as artificial ecosystem. Here you can see the examples in the picture. If you will observe these all ecosystem, these are characterized into different groups. As you know, these all ecosystem have these particular means components or characteristics. There are some producers and consumers. Consumers are of different types, but producer means the living thing which are able to produce their own food material. So here we can mention that producers are nothing but all autotrophs, means green plant or the organism in whose body there is presence of chlorophyll pigment. Due to chlorophyll pigment, they are able to prepare their own food material with the help of sunlight and carbon dioxide. Thus, producers, these are the organisms that can make their food by themselves by utilizing solar energy with sunlight, and very small aquatic green plants called as phytoplanktons, they have also ability to produce their own food material. So these are called autotrophs or the producers. Now, consumers. Consumers means receiving or gaining or taking from the others. Thus, consumers that are the organisms depend upon the producers for their nutritional requirement. Here, nutritional requirement means for the food material. Food is needed because from this food we are getting all the nutrients like carbohydrates, fats, minerals, vitamins. Thus, this is our nutritional requirement. They can be herbivores, carnivores and the omnivores. Now, what is the herbivorous animal? You know that herbivores means these are the organisms that feed on green plant directly. Thus, they are using their food as a green plant. Green plants are producing the grains, means these are different types of the cereals, then pulses, fruits or fruit vegetables or green vegetables. These all food material which is produced by the green plant is taken by the primary consumer, that is called as the herbivores. For example, some of the human beings as well as elephant, then sheep, they are using the green plants only as their food material. material. Now what about carnivores? The animals which depend on the animals for their food requirement. Means animals who are eating other animals' flesh or directly other animals' body as their food material. These are called carnivores. These are knowing tiger, lion, fox. These all are means animals or wildlife. They are using the other animals as their food material. So these are called as the carnivores or the secondary consumers. In these carnivores, there are two types of the consumers, that is secondary consumer and tertiary consumers. So, or tertiary, it is also called as top level consumer. Now, another characteristic of this ecosystem is omnivores. There are some organisms who are using green plants as their food material as well as other animals as a food. When they are eating flesh or meat as well as green plants, such organisms are called as omnivores. Which is that picture? Here you can see that cat. You are knowing the cat is taking milk also. It is eating chapati and milk as well as it is eating mice, and therefore such animals are called as the omnivores. Some human beings also, they are eating meat as a food as well as they are eating vegetables from the green plant. Therefore some human beings, they are omnivores. Now what about parasites? These are the organisms that live on the body of other organism, that is host body, either on the body or inside the body. Depending upon where they are living, inside or outside of the body of the host, these are called as endoparasite and ectoparasite. The parasite who are taking ready-made food material from the host body. For example, we are knowing the bed bug, the mosquito. These bed bug, they are directly taking the blood from our body. Therefore, they are ectoparasite because they are living outside of our body. Mosquito also same thing. When it bites to us, then it is taking the blood from our body. So mosquitoes, bedbug, these are ectoparasites. Then which are the endoparasites? There are some organisms which are living inside in our body. Then such organisms are called as endoparasites. Endo means inside of the body. For example, there are roundworms and they are living inside in the intestine. As well as there are liver flume. That liver flume worm, it is also living. It is a flatworm. It is living in the liver of the sheep and it is sucking directly the ready-made food material from the body of the host. So such are called as parasites. Now about decomposers. Here in this picture you can see that which are the decomposers. Here you can see this is the worm. Then there are many varieties of the fungi. Then there are some bacteria which are present in the soil. They are supposed to be decomposers and they are always living on the dead body parts. And therefore these are called as the decomposers. But they play very important role in the ecosystem because when all the living things get died, that bodies get mixed in the soil or in the water. At that time, these dead bodies decompose or decay with the help of the decomposers so that minerals or the different elements which are present in their bodies can be freely mixed in the atmosphere or in the soil. Therefore, decomposers are the microorganisms which play a very important role in the ecosystem. Next part of this lesson is the food chain. Now you have seen one organism is dependent on the other organism for their food material. Thus, this interconnection between different organisms at different level, that is the food chain, means that it is the process of eating and being eaten, or we can say that this sequence of one organism eats another organism and same is eaten by some other organism. This is called as the food chain. So, food chain generally consists of producers, consumers, it may be primary, secondary or top level, and decomposers, and all together they are dependent on each other. This sequence of different organisms in different trophic level, this interconnection is called as the food chain. So, each step of the food chain is called as its trophic level, at which transfer of energy always takes place from one level to the other level. Usually, this food chain consists of 4 to 5 trophic level, but at the base of each trophic level there is producer. Why? Because they have ability to take or absorb solar energy or sun energy, and this solar energy can be taken into producer. With the help of chlorophyll, it produces glucose, that is carbohydrates are produced, cereal grains are produced, fruits are produced. This food material is produced only by the producer, that is autotroph. So, this is the basic component of any food chain. Everywhere in each food chain, basic part and main part is the autotroph. Now, from the autotroph, the first level of the food chain, it is the primary consumer. This primary consumer is eaten by the secondary consumer. Secondary consumer is eaten by the tertiary, and tertiary is eaten by the top level consumer or apex consumer. And then when these all types of the consumers get died, then their body get mixed into the soil, and decomposers play here important role. They decomposes or degrade the body of all those living things, and that free elements, these are the nutrients or free elements, they get mixed in the soil, and that can be again used by the producer as a fertilizer or important minerals for their development. Thus, this is biogeochemical chain. These all are biotic factors. Then when their body, this is also biotic factor. When their body gets mixed into the earth or soil, that is geo. Geo means earth. Then again in that earth only, this producers means tree grows, plants grows. So, and when they are growing, it is converted into chemicals. Therefore, then geo means earth, and chemical means again food material is produced. So there is interconnection between food chain and biogeochemical cycle. Thus we can easily understand that the food chains are represented by drawing pyramids where different trophic levels are occupied by the different organisms. So, every food chain contains 4 to 5 trophic levels, which are those: producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, apex means top level consumer. Means here you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In some cases, you can see producer, then primary consumer, directly top level consumer. 3 steps: producer, primary, secondary, tertiary. Here are 4 trophic levels. In this way, it contains 4 to 5 trophic levels. We will see the different examples of this food chain. Already you are knowing these different food chains. For example, here green plants that are eaten by the deer or sheep. Again, that deer or sheep is eaten by the lion. So this is one food chain. Now we can write again grass. Then on that grass there is grasshopper. It is eaten by the frog. Frog is eaten by the snake. Snake is eaten by the hawk. In this way, this is second example of the food chain. Some example of the aquatic food chain also we can see. There are aquatic plants. These aquatic plants are eaten by means zooplankton. Then zooplankton as a food it is eaten by the small fish. Small fish are eaten as a food by large fish. So many food chains you can draw and you can see their interconnection also. While this writing this different food chain, how energy get transferred from one tropic level to other tropic level, that you can easily understand here. So according to it, the energy that gets transferred at each tropic level in a food chain is only 1/10% of the energy that is available for the next level. Means at first level maximum energy is present, but this maximum amount of energy, how much energy it is producing, from that only 10% energy is getting transferred into the next tropic level. From this it is taking 10% from this producer. From that 10% again 10% of this 10 which it has acquired is going to the next tropic level. Means that the animals which are present in the last tropic level or higher tropic level or apex tropic level, it is getting very less amount of energy. Thus, here you can see that solar energy with sunlight is used by only green plant. And this solar energy, suppose 1000 joules of light energy is absorbed by the green plant. From that 10 joules of energy is available as a food material. Thus, here from that means this much amount of energy will get escaped in the environment, but from it 10 joules of only energy get transferred from the producer towards the primary tropic level, that is primary consumer. From that 10 joule again only 1 joule will be available for this deer and this herbivore, and remaining 9 joules of energy will get lost in the environment or it will get escaped in the environment. Now it has got only 1 joule of energy from the producer, but from that 1 joule, as 1 joule is transferred from deer to the lion, from that 1 joule, how much amount of energy is getting transferred actually in its body? 10% of it. Means 1 by 10. How much energy has remained? Only 0.1 joule of energy is available with the carnivore, and remaining 0.9 from the 1 joule get escaped or lost in the environment. Thus, from this figure you can easily understand solar energy is only used by the producer because there is chlorophyll. Then here from sun to the producer, producer to primary, primary to secondary, secondary to tertiary, carnivore and carnivore to decomposer, and in the environment. In this way, at each tropic level only 10% of energy is used, and therefore maximum energy is available only for the producer and very least amount of energy is available with the top level carnivore. And this transmission of the energy is unidirectional, that is from sun to the producer and producer towards the top level carnivore. Therefore, this flow of energy is unidirectional. Sunlight to the producer, producer to consumer, that is primary, secondary, tertiary. In this way, one way path of, that is unidirectional transfer of energy takes place from the one trophic level to the other trophic level. So here from this figure you have understood the green plants capture 1% of the energy of the sunlight that falls on them and convert it into the chemical energy, that is food material. Food is in the form of the carbohydrate. When primary consumers eat the green plant, from that major part of the energy is lost in the environment and very least amount get transferred in their body. Thus, this transfer of energy is unidirectional. Now you will see the next term from this lesson, that is biological magnification. So what is that? Now suppose here you have seen one picture. Here water, in the water if there are some hazardous chemicals or poisonous things, then here it is aquatic food chain. Means water is the reservoir, these are present in the water, therefore these are called as the aquatic food chain. This is zooplankton. Zooplankton is eaten by the small fish. Small fish are eaten by the large fish and large fish is eaten by the birds. Thus, any poisonous chemicals or the elements are present in the water, means from where they come? They are coming from the industries, factories, means their release from these factories and industries in the form of the lead or arsenic. These are the poisonous materials. When it gets mixed into the water, their percentage is very less. That is in the parts per million. But when such a water is used by these zooplankton, that is aquatic plant, it goes inside in the body of the zooplankton. Zooplankton, where that hazardous chemical substance get accumulated, from it get accumulated into the body of the small fish. Small fish is eaten by the large fish, means that hazardous chemical will go in the large fish. Again, same large fish who is having that hazardous chemical in its body, it will go into the body of the bird, because one means living thing is eaten by the other living thing in the food chain. Therefore, through that food chain, the cycle of these hazardous chemicals is going from one trophic level to the other trophic level, and therefore transfer of this hazardous material also takes place. But day by day, what happens when such means water is taken by regularly by this zooplankton or by the small fish or the large fish, the concentration of these hazardous substances get increased, and this is nothing but the biological magnification. Why? These are the chemicals present in the water or the soil that are taken by the producer, and such producers are eaten by the another trophic level organism. So when they are eating, well, only one time they are not eating, they are regularly eating drinking the water or eating such a food material which contain hazardous material. So day by day, concentration of these hazardous harmful substances get increases or accumulated in their body. Therefore, what is actual biological magnification? It is defined as increase in concentration of some harmful substances at trophic levels. Sometimes some harmful chemicals may enter into the food material, and that same food material is eaten by the organisms in the food chain. And it is surprisingly note that at each step the concentration of it does not decrease, it gets increased. In case of energy, what we have seen? Energy which is transferred from one trophic level to the other trophic level, it decreases. Its percentage gets reduced. But in case of biological magnification, means concentration of the harmful substances in their body get increased, and thus it keeps on increasing at each level, and maximum sufferer is the top level consumer. and thus this top level consumer where more biological magnification occur and it is very bad or harmful to the growth of such organism. Thus, in case of suppose top level carnivores are lion, tiger, it is the lion, tiger, top level carnivore are more sufferer of this biological magnification. Now another effect due to the environmental pollution or on the ecosystem is that ozone depletion, because human beings are doing many different activities and due to these human activities here means ozone depletion is occurring much more amount. So what is actual this ozone depletion? From the means sunlight there are UV rays, IR rays, due to which this means ozone, oxygen, elemental oxygen combined with O2, that is molecular oxygen. Single O means elemental oxygen and O2 is the molecular oxygen. It is also called as dioxygen. When they combine with each other, then it gives O3, that is ozone. One molecule of ozone it contains 3 oxygen atoms. But during ozone depletion, what happens? Now see here, ozone, it is a molecule of 3 oxygen atoms. It is present in the stratosphere, that is a layer of atmosphere. It is formed when UV ray in the upper atmosphere split oxygen atom, that means here in this way. Oxygen, this is the oxygen molecule, it gets split into elemental oxygen, such elemental oxygen and oxygen molecule in the atmosphere which is present in the stratosphere level. It gets combined to form the ozone molecule. It is very important and that layer is also very important for us because screening of the sunlight is taken place due to only ozone layer which is present in the upper region of the atmosphere. When oxygen molecule splits into the atom, then each atom combine and undergo undissociated molecule of the oxygen to form the ozone. But ozone means here they are told it is a protective layer. If that ozone layer is slowly get depleted, means what? Nowadays, due to human activities, means we are using AC rooms, AC offices, AC automobiles. From that means air conditioners as well as refrigerators, CFC gas comes out, that is chlorofluorocarbon, and this chlorofluorocarbon has tendency to split this O3 into O2 and elemental oxygen. So slowly this ozone layer which is present in the upper layer of the atmosphere, and that layer become rare or thin, and at some points of our earth completely that ozone layer has gone and small holes are produced. Through that holes directly the sunlight which comes or reaches on the earth's surface, with that sunlight UV rays as well as IR rays, cosmic rays, they comes on the earth's surface. When they fall on our body, their skin get damaged, due to which there are different disorders. So, due to ozone depletion, this O3 gets split into elemental oxygen and molecular oxygen, due to which the screening of this sunlight is not done properly and UV light rays or cosmic rays, IR rays directly reach on the earth's surface. Here, how it affects on our body? If they enter in the earth atmosphere, they may harm us in many ways. What are the effects of the ozone depletion? You know that when such a rays come directly on the earth's surface, temperature of the earth increases. It causes global warming, and you know what are the effects of the global warming? Day by day, the ice cap started melting, and much more Earth's surface, it is going in the water. They may cause the skin disorders also. When the UV rays directly fall on the skin surface, then cancerous means skin cancer patients are increasing. It may cause the eye disorders and many more. So here you can see where there is thin layer of the ozone. Here is the ozone layer, where this ozone layer has become thin. Here are the some holes are produced on this ozone layer, and thus ultraviolet rays come directly on the Earth's surface. They reaches on the Earth's surface. Okay, and CFC, what it is doing? CFC is absorbing some of this ozone molecule, and it is splitting this O3 molecule into elemental oxygen and O2. So here you can see the definition of ozone depletion. The thinning of the ozone layer by air pollutants called as ozone depletion, and some synthetic chemicals are responsible for the ozone depletion. These are CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbons, that are used in the refrigerators or air conditioners. Now, what is food web? Already we have seen about food chain. When many different food chains comes together, there is interconnection between different many food chains at any trophic level. That network of the food chain is called as the food web. It is an arrangement made by the industrializations to feed the production of the CFC. Now, about food web we have seen, but about now ozone depletion we are taking care, our government is taking care, WHO is taking care of this ozone depletion, how it can be reduced. So here you can see the United States, there is environmental protection agencies. There are many environmental protection agencies. United States, name is the Montreal means protocol, in which over 30 years of healing our ozone means togetherly. Aim of this environmental protection agency is that over 30 years they are trying to avoid the ozone depletion. So it is an agreement made by industrialized nations like United States to bridge the production of CFCs and make use of some alternative sources. It was done in 1987 by UNEP, United Nations of Environment Program. Now, instead of using CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbon, they are using an HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons, and PFCs are used that are somehow helping in saving the ozone layer. Means in this way, ozone layer depletion is protected. Now, due to human activities, we have seen there is ozone depletion and other many things are there. We have seen heap of the garbage, heap of the waste is producing the environment, and day by day this heap of the waste is added daily. Now, when we are using canned food or the means food which is covered with the plastic or in the wrappers, packaged food material, bakery food product, in that there is much more use of the plastic. Now, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, they are using this mission, there is a mission of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, then plastic ban has also done. Then also we are using much more amount of the plastic and we are throwing it anywhere. So day by day it gets added into the environment, in the soil. So how the means management of this garbage is done? So there are some methods of the garbage management. It is refuse of the fruits, vegetables and food along with the other domestic waste. And these are considered as a waste, means leftover you are doing. Domestic waste is that vegetables leftover, fruits leftovers are there. There are certain methods for disposing the waste in the right way. Means government is foreseeing for all the human beings to manage that waste properly. Therefore, three types of the bins are there: green, blue and red color. So, where in red color, which type of the garbage should be there, in blue color, in green color, that is everything explained by the government. But human beings, they should listen that and they have to behave in the same way so that it becomes very easily to decompose that all materials separately and properly. So which ways they have taken into hand: landfills, then preparation of the compost, burning at high temperature, that is also called as incineration, then production of the biogas and manures. These all methods are used for the proper management of the garbage. Now we will see some questions related to this lesson. So first question is that which of the following group contain only biodegradable atoms? So here you can see in the A, grass, flower, leather. Grass, wood, plastic. Here you have to see which is biodegradable, which is non-biodegradable. Grass, that is from plant, flower is from the plant component, leather is, that is animal skin. So these are biodegradable. From this, grass, wood are biodegradable, but plastic is non-biodegradable. Fruit peels, leftovers, then cake is also food part, and lime juice. These are means lime juices. Cake, wood, grass. Here, grass, flowers, leather, fruit peels, cake, lime juice, cake, wood and grass. Thus they contain all biodegradable atoms, but only this B option where grass and wood is biodegradable, but plastic is non-biodegradable. Now second MCQ. Which of the following constitute a food chain? Now here you can see grass, wheat and mango. All these are producers. Food chain, it contains producer at the base level. It is the main component which is present at the bottom. Second should be primary consumer, then secondary, tertiary and top level. But in this first option, grass, wheat and mango, these are all means producers. Grass, goat and human. Means here grass is producer, is eaten by the goat is eaten by the human. So food chain. Goat, cow and elephant. Now goat, here there is no any producer. Then grass, fish and goat. Now here grass is producer, fish is aquatic and goat. In this way, which of the following constitute a food chain? Here grass, goat and the human being, it is the proper components of the food chain. Now next question is that which of the following are environmental friendly means practices? You are knowing eco-friendly. This word you are knowing properly, that is eco-friendly practices. We will see what options are given. Carrying cloth bags to put purchases while shopping. Yes, cloth bags. It is correct. Nowadays we are using the cloth bag, plastic bags, because when we are using the plastic bag, it is very difficult to get degrade. So this is correct. Switching off unnecessary lights and fans. Yes, when there is no use of light and fan, we should switch it off. Walking to the school instead of getting your mother to drop you on her scooter. If any small distances are there, that small distances you should walk and go, so that there will be exercise also and it is good for your health. So all these above practices are good and environment friendly. What will happen if we kill the organisms in one trophic level. So, if we kill all the organisms of one trophic level, it will create an imbalance in the ecosystem. For example, if we take one example of the food chain here, grass, deer and lion. This grass is eaten by the deer, deers are eaten by the lion. So, suppose at this trophic level, if we kill all the deers, then what will happen? Which animals depend on this deer? Lion. So, their number in grass will be increased and lion's number. Here deer has killed, its number will get reduced and automatically, indirectly. If lions are removed from the above food chain, deer population will be increased and it will cause overgrazing on the grass. This will lead to the deforestation. So at any level, in any trophic level, if you will remove any organism from any trophic level, then the another organism which is in previous trophic level, its number get increased. So means there it lead to the soil erosion, causing further conversion of fertile land and into the barren land, means infertile land will be produced. Means if lion number is reduced or if we kill all the lion, then number of the deer will be increased. Deer will completely, they are dependent on the grass that is producer. So they will eat that grass and deforestation takes place. When deforestation takes place, again indirectly there is erosion, soil erosion, and when there is soil erosion, fertility get decreased. In this way, every factor in the ecosystem or the food chain, it is very important. Now, next question. Will the impact of removing all the organisms in the trophic level be different for different trophic level? Can the organisms of any trophic level be removed without causing any damage to the ecosystem? So you have seen now one example in the previous question. So here you can say that impact of removing all the organisms of a trophic level is different for different trophic levels. If we remove the producers from the food chain, then no organism will get the food. So, if we remove the herbivores from a food chain, then carnivores will die because they will starve, because they will not have their food, and producers will also die due to the competition for the space and the nutrient. If all the organisms of the trophic level are removed, it will create an imbalance in the ecosystem. In this way, every component of the ecosystem is very important, but their effects will be different for the different level. That is, removing any trophic level from a food chain will cause imbalance in the ecosystem. Now, next question is, what is biological magnification? Will the levels of this magnification be different at different levels of the ecosystem? As you have seen, what is biological magnification? So here, biological magnification is defined as the phenomenon of accumulation or increasing concentration of some toxic substances at each trophic level. It has been observed that some harmful or poisonous substances like DDT powder, then arsenic, etc., when it is sprinkled to kill the pests on the food plant, get washed down into the soil or into the water bodies, and thus from the soil or the water bodies these chemicals are absorbed by the plant along with the other minerals and nutrients, whereas aquatic plants and animals take up these chemicals from the water bodies. On eating these plants or aquatic plant animals, the toxic substances enter into their bodies, and yes, the magnification is different in the different levels of the ecosystem. The animals at the higher trophic level get suffer more. Means in their body, these harmful substances concentration get increased than the previous level, trophic level. Means in case of producer it is less, but in case of primary it is more than that of the producer. In secondary trophic level it is more than that of the primary. But at the top level consumer in the food chain, its concentration is increases. That means magnification is also increases in the top level, or means a trophic level food chain.